Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the nice, toasty February 6th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Regents Committee on Academic and Student Affairs. I would like to ask the secretary to call the roll, please.
Thank you. Regent Bloom,
Present.
Regent Cummings,
Present.
Regent James,
Present.
Regent Porth's absence is noted. I would also like to recognize our ex officio member, Professor Kalina Sasanker and Kelly Marie Villiers. And I would also like to welcome President Bernal to the meeting, as well as Ari Santiago.
Welcome, everyone. Pleased to have all of these distinguished guests at our meeting.
And I do want to note that we do have a quorum today.
Thank you. Okay. Meeting is called to order. First item of business is approval of the minutes. We actually have two sets of minutes. We have the first set of minutes is the joint ASA Human Resources Committee meeting that was held the same day. And the second are the minutes of the last ASA meeting on December 5th. Motion to approve the joint meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any comments on the minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes?
Aye.
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 Abstentions? Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Motion to approve the ASA committee meeting minutes of December 5th.
So moved.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. We start today with a trip to Southern. Dr. Irwin, are you present and accounted for?
I am.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We'll start with we'll have the academic update at the end. We'll start with the items for approval. First item is the item 3B1 classroom teacher specialist suspension of the 6th-year certificate.
Yes, so I'm going to invite our Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Christopher Trombley, to talk about those within his area, including this the suspension. Dean Trombley.
Thanks, Dr. Irwin. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, so good morning, Dean Trombley. Thank you.
Of course. So this suspension, it is a suspension. Our hope is that as circumstances improve in the larger environment, that this might be a feasible program again. But at the current moment, being a K-12 educator is a huge challenge. So the appetite of folks who are serving as teachers to go on and take these extra degrees or credentials that they don't require and that don't lead to other areas of certification from the state hasn't been robust enough to continue. So we've decided to suspend the program for a period of time and to revisit it in a period of time and then make the determination as to whether or not to revivify it or to discontinue it altogether.
Questions or comments from the regents about this item? Okay. All those in favor of approving the suspension as indicated on the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Item is approved. The next item, Dean Trombley, is the discontinuation of the addiction counseling graduate certificate.
Yeah, so here, again, this has had to do with lack of demand. A number of years ago, the addiction counseling certificate had been a postmaster certificate. And in 2022, it was changed from a postmaster certificate just to a graduate certificate, in the hopes that not requiring folks to have a master's before they entered the program would increase would increase the appeal. But it didn't, and in part that's because of other changes that have happened at the state legislative level that that master's programs sort of incorporate this work, so there isn't a need for an additional credential beyond the master's. And so the department, seeing that the demand was lower, we decided to discontinue the graduate certificate as well.
Questions or comments on this item?
None.
Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the discontinuation of the graduate certificate in addiction counseling?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is approved for recommendation to the board, full board. Their next, Dean Trombley, is the 3 reading certificates. I think if we have to approve them individually, but I think you might want to talk about the 3 of them at the same time.
Sure. So, and we talked about this, I want to say, at the November meeting or maybe the December meeting. But in any case, we had the 3 different certificate programs in addition to our master's program. And they weren't exactly stackable credentials, but the 6-year certificate was the sort of the same as if you did the master's and one of the other certificates. But the long and the short is, because of the demand, a lot of districts aren't requiring the additional certificate for reading specialists, just the one that is included within our master's program. And the demand has been low to begin with, so we decided that we would discontinue the various certificate programs, teaching out those who are already in them, but that we would focus our efforts on making sure that our master's program is as robust in terms of content and in terms of enrollment as possible.
Questions or comments on these 3 items?
None.
Okay, then motion to approve discontinuation C2 graduate certificate in reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Discontinuation is approved. C3 reading postmaster certificate. All those in favor of discontinuation of the reading postmaster certificate?
So moved. Aye.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions? Negatives? Okay. It is recommended discontinuing. Finally, C4 reading 6-year certificate. All those in favor of the discontinuation of the 6-year certificate?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Discontinuation is approved. Okay. The next item is the discontinuation of the special education specialization in applied behavioral analysis 6th year, and I take it this is connected to the D1 modification of the applied behavioral science Master of Science.
It is indeed, yes. So the field of applied behavior analysis is growing, and it's becoming more and more professionalized. And indeed, there are 2 accrediting bodies vying for the attentions of the various programs. And so in anticipation of applying for accreditation to what seems to be the more robust, but the more sort of viable of those 2, we're amping up our master's program because the requirements for people graduating with a master's in ABA are increasing. But that makes these SYC sort of duplicative. So we're discontinuing this 6-year program again to focus our energies on the master's program, because that's where the enrollment is likely to be, and because we need to amp up the master's program to begin with to comply with the accrediting bodies or the proto-accrediting bodies' expectations.
So we'll be left with the 39 credit master's program. Is that?
We'll still have the master's program as it's being modified here, but we won't have
Yeah.
the 6-year certificate. That's correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the regents?
Comment about the
James.
entire package, which is more that absolutely understand that all of these discontinuations are part of our overall reimagining what the programs are that we need for the future and the present, given the changing landscape. And I was just wondering at some point if we could have that sort of introductory a statement, because I don't want us to give the impression that in some way we are not placing as much emphasis on this area of our work. We're placing more focused emphasis and redesigning as appropriate. And somehow when you sort of see all of these stacked up, it could give the wrong impression. So I'm just wondering if there's some way we can at least officially state, in the minutes of this meeting, that all of this is part of an overall plan to strengthen this area. And that's exactly what it is.
I think if we, perhaps if we combine the vote on these two items with the comment that you just made, Regent James, because I think it's the way the agenda is organized that is, but one of the reasons we put those two together next to each other is that this is all part of one.
Right.
It's part of, as you suggest, part of one package here. Any other comments on let's say C5 and D1? Okay. A motion to approve 3C5 and D1 with the comments that Regent James made to be included in the minutes.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Approved as we just described it. The next item modification is the D2 clinical mental health counseling. Dean Trombley, you're still with us.
Yes, so that is a master's program that had been entirely on ground for a while, and then we changed it to hybrid a number of years ago. But again, in keeping with sort of market demands for this degree, the department faculty sort of did a market analysis, and decided that it would be best to offer this as an almost fully online program. I say almost fully because the accrediting body KCREP does require a residency component. And so there's a piece where they will have to be sort of physically in person with faculty members, but that's a pretty small amount. It's less than 2% of the program, but all of the coursework would be entirely online. And that's what this modification represents.
I assume some of the clinical component would be the in-person.
Yeah, so when the students are in the field, they're physically in the field at their settings.
Yeah.
But when they have their supervision with their faculty members, they meet remotely like this.
Yeah. So I think that these low residency programs are increasing in terms of demand, because it actually serves the purposes of the flexibility that our students need in order for them to actively participate and pursue these programs and degrees and certificates. So again, I just want to frame it in that way, that we are actually anticipating being responsive to the needs and the demands of the students as part of all of these changes.
Agreed.
Some of these students, I would assume, are working students.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a master's program, and a great many of our students are, they're working. not as counselors necessarily, but perhaps as milieu counselors or in schools as paraprofessionals or behavior technicians or that sort of thing. And so, yeah, so they're coming in the evening to our classes. You know, they're online, but the classes are all held in the evening, and the students register for no more than 9 credits, but typically it's about 7.5 credits per semester for this program.
Okay. Comments or questions from the Regents? Motion to approve the modality shift for D2 clinical mental health counseling as set forth in the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is approved. And then we have the modification to the doctoral program and counselor education and supervision.
Yeah, so the doctoral program was begun a number of years ago while Dr. Hegeda sat in the seat. And the program gained CACREP accreditation this past summer, which is a big advance. But CACREP, as all accrediting bodies do, has now changed its standards. And so formerly doctoral programs needed to be only 49 credits, but now they need to be 60. And so the faculty, whilst they were in the process of doing the self-study to get the accreditation, also did the work of making the program alterations or to propose to you to extend the program from 49 credits to 60. And I know at one point somebody had a question, well, would that make us less competitive? And the short answer is no, because most, I think all programs that are preparing counselor educators need to be CACREP accredited, and they'll only hire faculty members who completed CACREP accredited programs. And so we and all of the other CACREP accredited doctoral programs are making sure that we've got our programs are 60 credits in length, not just the 49. So, which goes back to Regent James's point, you know, that we're maintaining a focus on the landscape and staying in compliance with everything that we need to, so that we're giving our students every advantage.
Comments or questions on this item from the Regents? Well, all those in favor of approving the modification to the doctorate in counselor education and supervision?
Sorry, just one moment, Regent Bloom. We will need a motion and a second for this.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Regent James made the motion.
I made the motion, yes.
I mean, the second. Regent Cummings?
Yeah, I just seconded it. That's all.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is approved. We have the below threshold items that do not require a vote, but I gather, Provost, we have the chairman of the math department who is prepared to talk about the programs.
We do. Yes. So we're moving to the College of Arts and Sciences, and our dean is here, Dean Kalk, and he has asked the chair of the math department to talk you through these. So I'm going to go ahead and let Clay discuss.
Hello.
Okay. Dr. Trombley, Dean Trombley, thank you very much for your participation.
Oh, my pleasure. I'll stick around in case you have any questions about the school counseling one when it comes up.
Yeah, so 1 through 4 are arts and sciences, and then we'll go back to Dean Trombley if there are questions for 5.
Yeah, we're not going to let him off the hook that fast. Okay.
You can switch your if you want, Chris. It's fine. Like just I don't
no,
want
let's go with the,
okay.
Let's go with the math.
Okay. All right. So in response to BA 1240 or PA 1240 many years ago, the math department sort of switched some courses around so that we could satisfy that bill. And so part of that was we created this course called Math 11, Math 112, which is sort of an algebra for STEM and business majors. And that course, we realized over the years, didn't quite focus on what we'd like it to focus on. And we used to have a college algebra course and realized that was the way we wanted to go. So we went back to a college algebra course. And then with the addition of the trigonometry course, a standalone trigonometry course, still allowing students to take pre-calc on its own, but sort of allowing students to do it in 2 semesters. That was one part of the change, and the other parts of the change, and it applies to all 4 concentrations, is to allow students to take either a math probability stats class or a flat out inferential statistics class. And so that was sort of the 2 main changes in there that happened. And part of that reduced the credits by 1 because cognates were now part of the major, even though they're not technically cognates, but the pre-calculus or the Math 112, which is an algebra for STEM and business majors, was considered part of the major, even though we assumed they would be past that. So that's sort of why the credits got reduced.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments on this item? Okay. Thank you.
Can I
Dr.
make a
Cat. Thank you.
comment? Can I make a comment, Regent Bloom?
Yes, it's your show for the moment.
So Clay, can you just also explain that because math is so foundational to so much of the rest of what we're doing here in prereqs, can you just talk about how you made those changes? You just described why, but can you just briefly talk about how that also impacts other programs, right?
Sure.
So this body will see a series of changes that are follow on from this change.
Absolutely, absolutely. So because some of the STEM majors and the business concentrations have that Math 112, which is that algebra for business and STEM as part of their cognates, the fact that we're getting rid of that cognate and changing it to college algebra affected them. So they all had to submit degree changes. So they had to be program changes, minor program changes. And then and that also affected those majors that had pre-calculus. So again, we went from a pre-calculus. So we went from that algebra for business and STEM and a pre-calculus course to a pre-calculus college algebra and a pre-calculus trigonometry course. So that affected all those majors. So that's all the STEM majors, exercise science, and then partially the School of Business, because all those students took a follow-up course for business, basically a business math course. And so they ended up no longer requiring that course, but that sort of affected that. So this change sort of affected a lot of the other majors, and the people were warned last February that this was coming. So we had plenty of time to sort of set up that paperwork because it was a fairly substantial change. And so they were given a little while to we don't want to spring it on them. So in February of last year, I let them know this was going to change, and we all worked through the necessary paperwork and how it would affect them.
Thank you so much.
Dean, Regent James, you look like you're about to say something.
I was about to ask Dean Efron a question. I just wanted to confirm that as we make all of these changes, the communication and understanding of the course changes is clear to the students, and that they understand not only what the changes are, but how it brings either greater clarity or in terms of thinking about their course load and which courses they choose. In other words, you have a certain amount of discipline in terms of explaining these accreditations and what they refer to, and I call it a very academic focused in terms of what their requirements are with respect to reporting. But is there also a sort of a clearer understanding of the courses and the communication and the benefit and what will be delivered to the students? I want to make sure that we keep that in mind in all of our institutions as we change and modify things, that the clarity of purpose and making it easier for students to identify and select what courses that they need in preparation for the degrees that they are pursuing.
I can respond to that, Regent James. That's an excellent point. So there are a number of things that are happening across campus. And one of the real pushes is to have less curricular complexity, right? We are dealing with this within majors, within programs. And as you can tell from Clay's description, we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
So, when a math change will lead to follow-on changes, I think the best way that we manage this and the most appropriate way, because students are in various, some are brand new, some have been with us for a while, is to deal with this through advising.
Okay.
to make very clear, you know, this is your program and how it might change. This will work for that. I think it's a combination of tools, not that we want to over rely on tools that will say this now substitutes for this or this is appropriate in your catalog year. But I think it's also how we describe it to students and how we bring them through the process. And that is a really important part of it, and it relies on our talented faculty. But I would say that our professional advisors, our faculty advisors that are content specialists, we all kind of are working together on that. And we are making some changes in terms of even products. So this is something that we do as an entire campus. That's, I think, the best way to describe it.
Yeah. And I think it's important for you to make sure that the regents understand that, that this is all part of a much larger picture, supporting, you know, the goals that we have set as institutions to make the process more accessible, to improve the completion rates. And it's also important to talk about the strengthening of the advising to make sure that we are guiding students appropriately and providing the right level. So thank you for that. I think that's a very important point to be made.
Do the students get, do students get a map, an individual map of what their course plan will be for the time they're on the campus?
They absolutely do. So I will admit that we're in a bit of a transition in how this works. But essentially, they use what's called a degree evaluation. And so not only does it show you, if I'm going to be an education major, what I will need to graduate and what the prereqs are, it kind of shows you almost like a map in an order.
Mhm.
But it also will allow you to do something called a what if analysis. Well, what if I want to be an education and psychology double major, or an education and political science double major? That kind of thing. It will allow you to see those differences. And so there's two reasons for the map. One is so students always kind of know where they're going. And we hope that it gives them a sense of, like, you know, the drive to completion and feeling part of the process. But it also gives us an ability to have those conversations of, well, you just finished these prerequisites. Is it time to think about an internship? Is it time to think about maybe you want to do a 4+1 and get a master's, right? A bachelor's master's, because we have set up our curriculum to really allow that in such a way where some courses can count for both. We have in the past used differing products. We do have, with the new Banner SAS, with the Aleutian update, we do have access to a product we haven't used before that will include some AI that can make recommendations. So this is a brave new world for us on this, and we will kind of watch how it lays out for maps for individual students. But I think the human touch is the most important part, right? That Dean Trombley, for example, knows exactly how you want to get to a certain job. So we are doing this. We are using the products the BOR has made available to us, but we're also kind of just using our in-work expertise.
Great.
Any more comments on the math? Okay, then we're back. Dr. Trombley, I think we're back to you for the final item, which is the school counseling 6-year certificate.
Yeah, and this one just is pretty straightforward. It's just essentially saying that the since school counselors get certified by the state, and not all of them had been teachers before becoming school counselors. Actually, most of them haven't been. There's a requirement that they've taken a special education course, and it used to be an admissions requirement to the program, but now it's built into the program.
Thank you.
Comments or questions? Okay. Provost Irwin, thank you and your crew. That's very helpful and very informative for the committee. We're very appreciative. Thank you. We're going to travel west. Provost
Before we
Heideras,
do so, can we give Julia, Provost Irwin, the opportunity to share her academic updates?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
All
thank
good.
you. My apologies.
Thank
Yes,
you.
your academic report. We'll always look forward to that.
I
Thank you.
promise to keep it short.
It's
So I
okay.
wanted to announce our faculty development and community engagement series has just had its second installment, and the topic this year is Role of the University in the Age of AI, Ethical and Pedagogical Challenges and Opportunities. So we are keeping a focus on AI as much as we possibly can. We had speakers come from all over the country to talk about these issues with our faculty and community members, and it's a moving window, as you know. In terms of enrollment updates, year over year, spring 25 to 26, our full-time undergraduate enrollment is up 4.2% and our grad is up 3%. So it's about 4% overall if you collapse the two. I want to acknowledge our veteran school psychologist and instructor, Eric Elias, who has just earned one of the highest honors in his field, receiving the School Psychologist of the Year award from NASP, which is the National Association of School Psychologists. Some information about our honors college. We have developed some new trips for those that either because they're non-documented or because they need a more affordable option can't do study abroad out of the country. So these are stateside study abroad trips. For academic year 27, it will be political and social movements that shape the East Coast. And for academic year 28, Indigenous culture and Indigenous conservation science. So we now have abroad trips that are actually stateside. Last, we've been talking so much about curriculum, it feels like this is an important time to talk about how we look at our programs. We had an external review of our internal STAR program review process. So we actually had experts come in and look at how we do program review. And we'll be modifying the process moving forward to emphasize student assessment, as was suggested, which is consistent with NETCHI's changing focus. Well, it's always a focus, but it's an increased focus on learning outcomes as well as enrollment, retention, and completion. So to support this, we will be increasing our data and institutional research or IR capacity, and we'll be more kind of engaging with the BOR's 7 semester review process for new programs. You often ask us, please come back and tell us what happened with that.
Yeah.
How did it go? Where are we going? So we will explicitly begin reporting out as part of this at 7 semesters once a program has been established to give you a sense of where these things have gone that you so generously approved for us. And actually, we're having a 3-year kind of program planning curricular retreat this afternoon with many of the Southern individuals that are here. We're going to project out what we think our curricular needs will be for the following 3 years. So that's what I have. Thank you.
That's great. I think that's what you're doing is very important. And we actually do wonder what happens with the programs we approve and all the good things that people tell us, whether they actually come to happen or they've hit some bumps in the road or whatever may happen. So thank you. Thank Dr. Irwin. This has indeed been very informative for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I think I'm safe to move west. Thank you. Ms. Davis is nodding her head, so that's good. Dr. Hagedis, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Regent Bloom.
Good morning. Good to see you, Dr. Hagedis.
Good to see you. Thank you, Regent Bloom. Thank you, Regents. I just want to heads up, I've had some internet difficulties this morning. I found a hotspot. Looks like all is good, but if something happens, I have an excellent backup plan with having President Bernal here. So
that sounds like a good backup plan.
Thank you. And President Bernal and I will jointly present to you a really exciting gift and our plans for that in a moment. But I just wanted to give you a couple of updates, as I regularly do. The first being NETCHI. We, I think at the last time reported, we'd had a site visit back in October, and we go through the same cycle as a regular visit where they send us a draft report. We do some fact checking, error checking, and then it is officially submitted to us, and then we have a brief time to respond. We completed that response, and that response was, let me just say, the report, the team and the report were very complimentary of the hard work that has been done in a short period of time, but also acknowledged the realities of our ongoing needs and financial needs. President Bernal joined us last summer and has been an incredible support and guiding the campus in various areas to meet some of those financial difficulties that we face, as well as us focusing very much on the assessment components of many of our programs. This year, we've implemented a new Gen Ed framework. I've reported on that in the past, and there is a lot of work continuing. It's going to take 3 years to completely complete all of the new assessments within the learning outcome areas, and that has begun this year. So this response report that was submitted yesterday gave us the opportunity also to give updates since the October visit, things that have already been achieved in various areas, in efficiencies and some cost cutting, as well as progress made by the various academic committees. We will now wait until the official commission. President Bernal and I will be there in April, and we will report out of the results of that. That is my NECI update. I also wanted to share and then share with Dr. Diamond a flyer for a lecture series that I set up this year, a distinguished lecture series, where we have celebrated the work of our 3 CSU professors. Sometimes the dedicated work and the achievements that have established them with this excellent honor of being a CSU professor, and there are a limited number across our CSUs, have been celebrated through a lecture series. And the next one is with Professor Terry Dwyer on February 28th. And he will be talking on criminals, clients, curricula, and creativity. Professor Dwyer is a much-loved professor. I am guaranteed that this will be a really exciting talk. He's published in criminal justice law journals, many textbooks and articles, and a petitioner's brief before the US Supreme Court. So he's actually intertwining a lot of different areas. He's also has worked as a playwright and an author, and his book is coming out very soon, and he'll be signing his book at that event. And then the last in the series will be on April 1st with our CSU professor on what is poetry. So I will share that talk if you can be there. We would love to see you all. And finally, before we move to our presentation, and it's a great segue, on March 27th, we will be celebrating the inauguration of our 10th president, President Bernal. We're going to have a very rich and exciting day. President Bernal is committed to celebrating all the achievements of our faculty, our staff, our students. There'll be a lot of showcase events going on throughout the day, as well as the formal ceremony. So on March 27th, I know you've got the invite, but I just wanted to let all our colleagues here know about that. It has been a long time since we've had an inauguration at Westcon. So I think it's really great for our community, our local regional community, as well as the Westcon community. Now I'd want to move, and President Bernal and I will be presenting a brief overview we have received an incredibly generous gift, a bequest from Dr. Carol Ann Hawkes of the sum of $3.3 million. This is a really amazing gift, and we are excited about the opportunities that can bring to sustain and expand some of our academic offerings for our students and to be able to support faculty innovation. We have a short presentation to outline. I think Carly or Kayla has slides. It's only 4 slides, but we thought it was important to present it here because of the impact it will have on our academic programming, and then it will be formally brought forward to the finance subcommittee in a couple of weeks, and then to the full Board of Regents at the end of the month, because as the first slide highlights, we will be aiming to rename our Centre for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. President Bernal, do you wish to start?
Yeah, thanks, Provost Hegedus, and thanks, Chair Bloom, for having me. My first time in front of this committee, so I really appreciate being here and learning about some of the work that's being done here. I really just wanted to start by sharing a little bit about Dr. Hawks with this group and her legacy of work. I've had the opportunity to spend some time with Drs. Roach and Schmatter, who were presidents during her time at WestConn. And they really talked about her trailblazing and bold nature, particularly in honoring and celebrating women in leadership. And she also had a deep care not only for students when she taught until the very end of her retirement, but also for faculty development and ensuring that our faculty were always thinking about the future and how to engage in new generations of students time after time. So Dr. Hawks was, worked at WestConn for over 2 decades, 24 years, and she had some significant academic roles as the Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, and she was also very active in the Provost office for a number of years. She's credited with establishing our School of Visual and Performing Arts, which is a hallmark of WestConn. She was the founding dean there, and she was also recognized with several distinctions upon her retirement from WestConn. An important note about her history, though, is that she's really made an influence on higher education across the country. She was the president at Endicott College in Massachusetts for about 15 years. She turned that junior college into a 4-year college before she came to WestConn, so had a lot of impact in institutional transformation as well. She lived to 102 years old. And, in talking with Dr. Schmatter earlier this week, he said that she was always around town. And even when she was 89, 95, she was taking her mom around town too, who was 107 before she died, in Danbury, going to different diners and things like that. They were apparently a pair of really standout citizens for the Danbury community and almost like rock stars here, is what Dr. Schmatter said. So she's not only has a legacy of supporting our institutions, academic excellence, and faculty development, but also a deep commitment to local community relations. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to the provost and share why we want to ask the board for the naming of this center in her honor, and also share a little bit about what we're intending to do to invest this funding that she so generously left this institution. It is the second largest gift that we have received in our history, and it's a testament to the care that our employees have for WestConn.
Thank you, President Bernal. Carly, could you advance the slide, please? I think the next slide was, okay, great, thank you. So we have spent quite a bit of time thinking of how we can shepherd these funds to most impact. And so there are 3 investment areas. We've also brought this forward to our foundation board, which is required to have the approval of our board for the spending plan, the investment plan, and that was approved by them a few weeks ago. So the first area, and quite a bit of the money will be invested into faculty teaching, student learning, our existing Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, affectionately known as CELT. They'll have to work out a new acronym, but having that center named and then investing in that and expanding the good work that already occurs there will have much impact and really align with the mission and spirit of Dr. Hawks that President Bernal just pointed out. I'll go into a little more detail on that, but there will in the next slide. But the second investment will be led by President Bernal in having a catalyst fund for fellows, having fellows that will be working in high impact areas. And then the last part will be left as we grow, as we think in a quasi endowment funds, a strategic reserve for future work. Our foundation board, as I said, approved that and found that was a sensible move as we begin and start. So because those investments take time to yield, there will be an activation fund. Part of the gift will be used to activate some of the work, which I will outline on the next slide. I think the slides got turned around, but that's a point that the President Bernard just noted about the legacy of Dr. Hawkes. Little small, there's a lot on this page. So this really ties in. I have updated this committee in the past on some of the work that we're engaged in this year, made it a priority at Westcon to really focus on applied learning, experiential learning as a hallmark for every degree program. And when we began to do an inventory, it was great to find out that nearly all of our programs have some component of applied or experiential learning already in them. Some this is given in education and social work and nursing, but in other areas there is a lot of work already happening. But sometimes students can't always take that opportunity because maybe there's some costs associated with that. I presented, I think, last month the various areas. There are various national reports, and there's a lot of work done to think through what the applied learning really means. And it is not just about internships or co-ops, but very specific experiences that students can find in all their degree programs. I also include in their study abroad. And to Provost Irwin's point, many of our students want to pursue the opportunity of studying abroad or even studying locally, but can't afford it. And every institution I've worked at, I've always been committed in whatever way I can to really helping students get on a plane for the first time for several of them, and to travel and to get different perspectives, global perspectives, and bring that back home. So there are various areas, both from study abroad to local regional partners, to actually expanding the experiential learning that can occur on our campus. Our students can experience by working in various offices on specific areas, specific topics, maybe some research. So the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching will be a hub for that. We're also setting up an Applied Learning Council. So what's critical as well, I think back, a lot of these experiences are very positive, but we also need to be very sure that there are learning outcomes attached to each of these experiences. And NECHI is very committed to that as well. And that we keep a check on that. We measure the success. Did it have the intended outcomes for that? So, the monies will help support both offset some of the costs for students, but also to help invest in faculty to really ensure that the experiences that our students are engaging with have both an impact on their learning and their success and their future success as well. So here's some highlights of the various metrics we'll be using. I think there's one more slide, and then we will conclude. I think I've spoken. Yeah, there's a lot of words on here. Apologize, but I do believe that Dr. Diamonds has distributed this, because this was a prospectus as well. But some of the applied learning examples that I just mentioned are in there. I just spoke to some of that. Some of the work that's already ongoing can be invested in more as it relates to AI and simulations and other areas. So this is some of the examples, looking at these opportunities to really have a real task, a real problem in mind, and to be able to go through that reflection as well. Again, whether they are learning abroad, whether they're learning locally, or whether they're learning right on our campus in some additional experiential way. So we are committed to having a very rigorous framework attached to all of this work that the center will help support and enhance the professional development associated with much of this work. And we're very excited to begin very soon to, again, give that financial assistance and opportunity for so many of our students. President Bernard, do you have anything more to add? Otherwise, I think...
No, thanks. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for giving a brief update on this exciting gift and how we aim to partly use it.
This is very exciting.
Welcome any questions.
I have one question in your distribution of the gift about what percentage is going into the endowment, the long-term endowment.
About half of it, so a little more than half. And that's for, as I'm new here, we wanted to make sure that we were basically saving for future investments and not rushing into decisions. We took about 6 months even to make this decision and proposal before the foundation. So really taking our time to think about, these are rare gifts when they're unrestricted. So being thoughtful about where we're investing that long term, we wanted to wait. So we don't have a timeline on when we'll make a decision on that 1.5 million, but we'll do it in consultation with all of you. We'll do it in consultation with our foundation. And as we think about the next strategic priorities that we have as an institution, we know that we have this funding to help support some of those new initiatives and new work that we can't even anticipate right now.
I mean, things are likely to take the next few years, I suspect, some surprising turns. So this is probably a very good plan. Questions from the regents? Comments from the regents? Regent James?
I realized I was on mute. I just think this is extremely exciting, and congratulations to Western. This is a wonderful, not only recognition of the work that you do, but an investment in terms of growing such an important aspect of our educational institution. So it's really quite exciting. So thank you.
Thank you, Regent James. Yeah.
Are there any other?
My apologies. No, I think unless there are any other questions, I think that's it. We don't have any curricular.
Not quite. Bro. You still have your promotion and tenure recommendation.
That's right. There is an idea. Wow, I get.
We don't want to lose. We don't want to lose the tenure.
This is linked to sometimes we hire in January versus at the start of the academic year. This is not uncommon across our institutions. And so this is why it's sort of a little out of cycle with the regular batch that you received. But we are recommending the promotion and tenure, and I think all the details are in the packet.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments or on this item? Motion to approve the promotion and tenure recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Now, Provost Hagedus, Dr. Burnell. Thank you very much for a very informative, and we certainly wish you well with you have exciting opportunities.
Thank you.
With West.
And we'll make sure that, at Chair Gui's request, we are planning a dedication ceremony, and we'll make sure the regents know when that's happening as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Burnell, for coming to the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Central, Dr. Jim Mulrooney is taking the place of the provost today. Dr. Costello. Dr. Mulrooney, are you here?
I am here. Good morning. Thanks for having me here. It's
Good
been a
morning.
while since I've been in front of you. Provost Costello sends her apologies. Unfortunately, we need to clone her because she seems to be participating in 4 meetings at the same time. Do you want me to start with updates or with the curriculum?
Yeah, start with the updates, please.
I'll keep them relatively short. In terms of numbers for our spring, if I read our numbers correctly, we are up 7% for our enrollment, and our housing continues to exceed our expectations. I believe we're at 2,500 students in housing, which is almost max capacity. Becomes a little bit of a problem when we have students who don't get along. We don't have a place to put them, so everybody's got to get along.
The wonderful challenges of residential.
Oh yeah, I sit on that committee too. Sort of related to some of the curriculum proposals, this spring we are holding an Accelerate Central event. So this will be an event on campus. It'll be open to all students, but we will also selectively invite students who already meet the requirements in terms of being able to jump right into that program. For those that are unaware, Accelerate Central is our program that combines a bachelor's and a master's degree together and sort of accelerates time of degree. And you'll hear more about that because that's most of my curriculum proposals. Some other initiatives we're working on campus. I think we've reported in the past that we have been using Slate as a sort of our customer management relations software to communicate with our students, to better engage with our students, to better track our students. We have now expanded our communications and our engagement and are working to enhance our family engagement. That was one area we have tried a couple of different approaches. Families do want to engage, and so we are now working on different ways to engage with the families so that they become partners with us in their student success and to keep them sort of well informed of what's happening on our campus, both academically and events and that kind of stuff. So I'm sure we'll have more to share on that coming forward. Sort of on the student success side of things, we're trying something a little bit different with our probation students. It seems like our students require more supports. I'm not sure if this is a post-pandemic type thing, but we do have, we call them our student success sessions. When a student is placed on probation, they have to meet one-on-one with a student success advisor. For freshmen, we used to give them options for what they could do in that probationary semester, perhaps meeting with an academic coach. This year, we're trying something a little bit different. All freshmen on probation are participating in what we call Making the Dean's List. It's a weekly class, about 10 to 12 students who are all on probation. They're meeting with success coaches, and they're learning various success strategies in terms of things like academics, test-taking skills, note-taking skills, as well as time management. We also partner with some of our other support services offices to make sure the students are getting all that they need to be successful, with a hopeful goal that at the end of the spring semester, they will be back above a 2.0 and in good standing. So stay tuned to see how those results come out. And I believe those are all of my quick updates.
A number of your below threshold items deal with Accelerate Central. So maybe you want to spend a additional minute or two describing how that works and how many
Sure.
students are involved with Accelerate Central.
And I think we have a total of, what's there? 1, 2, 6. I think if I counted right, there's nine proposals on here that deal with Accelerate Central.
Yeah.
And this is a program, I believe we're in our 3rd year. This is a program where students who meet certain criteria, like a GPA of 3.0 or higher, are able to double count graduate credits in both the undergraduate program and the graduate program. Effectively, it reduces the time to degree. They're going to earn both a bachelor's and a master's degree in as little as 5 years. It's been highly successful. The students really seem to like it. And we're seeing more and more inquiries now from incoming students who want to know about it at open house, or as soon as they start on our campus, they're already planning for that master's. So we continue to add more and more pathways. It really is just an advising pathway. making use of things that were already in place for our students. And so that's basically it. Most programs, it's about 2 courses that they can double count in the undergrad. It's usually like the directed electives for the major, and then they also count in the master's program. So it reduces the total credits taken as a master's degree, if you will, by about 6 credits. Some larger programs can do 9. So, and I'll stop there and I'll pause. I didn't want to go into too much detail. I know you've all seen many of these at this point. So
yes, but I think it's important because we have seen many of these.
Yep. And there'll be more coming. So.
Do you want to say anything particular? The first 3 are deal with artificial intelligence, your programs and that.
So those so the MS in artificial intelligence is a relatively new program that I believe went through this body last year. We've made several changes in our computer science. And so this is just now connecting the undergraduate programs that are appropriate in computer science to this master's in artificial intelligence.
Okay. And then you have the grouping of the cybersecurity items.
Correct. And in a similar fashion, the MS in cybersecurity was also new, that went through last year, or actually might have been just last spring. And so again, we're connecting now the computer science courses or undergraduate programs to the master's in cybersecurity.
I would think that would be a fairly popular program these days, given the emphasis on cybersecurity.
Yeah. Computer science is becoming one of our fastest growing majors. I believe we have over 600 majors in that program now in just computer science. And then we have the other computer engineering graphics technology department that has networking that also connects into these. So they have options to go into AI, cybersecurity, software engineering. So lots of opportunities for our computer science students.
And how does what's the student retention like in these programs? I mean, I assume these are very demanding programs from looking at, and from my other experience with these types of programs.
Yep, the program, it is very demanding. One of the changes we did make last year, you might remember, we split our computer science program. We used to have a BS in computer science, and then there was an honors track, which follows the ABET accreditation standards, much higher level of math and science. We split that to create a BA, which has slightly, I don't want to say lower, that's not the right word, but less math, less science. And so that helps with some of our retention, because now the student, it focuses more, it's a little bit more applied, and it does focus just on the computer science aspects. So overall, I think the retention is strong in those programs. It is a little hard to tell. There's a lot of freshmen who enter in like, oh, I want to do computer science. And then we say calculus. And it's like, oh, so they might go elsewhere.
They run screaming from your office. Is that the general line?
Pretty much. I was one of those students.
Any questions from the regents on this group of below threshold items? Comments?
No, it's funny because I too started out as a math major in my undergraduate degree, and I made it through 2 full semesters of calculus, but it was the integrated, I can't remember what the 3rd semester was, but that was the one that finally scared me away. So hats off to the students who have the not only the aptitude, but the stamina to really complete this. I give them a great deal of credit, though.
I appreciate that, Regent James.
Differential calculus, is that
Yes,
the 3rd, if I remember?
That's what it was.
No, thanks.
My office was on the 3rd floor of our academic building, and I had students who tried to leave by the window when this. Okay, construction management and similar, I gather.
Yep, just pairing those programs. Some departments were a little slower to get out of the gate to adding the Accelerate Central pathway. So you'll see a few more coming from some of those departments.
Okay. And I gather strategic communication. Same.
Correct. Yep. That's taking the BA in communication and bringing it to the MS degree.
Okay. Number 10, design is a little different. That was a modification of credit. Do you want to say something about the design?
Yeah, so that was it increased the credits in the program by 3 credits, sort of trying to keep up with the field. There was content area missing, so they've added a 3-credit course to address sort of more contemporary issues in that field, and so the program increased by 3 credits.
Okay. Any questions on this group from the Regents? Comments? Yeah. International studies.
This is I'm going to share a little bit more on this one because it is sort of a initiative that we've been doing on our campus the last 1.5 or 2 years, is taking a real hard look at our academic programs and finding ones that have pinch points that students seem to have a hard time completing, whether it's an enrollment issue and courses offered. So the international studies programs had a core of programs and then very specific concentration areas, sometimes, to a very specific region. That meant that we had to offer so many different courses. It also meant students could not have a little bit more of a general degree. They were all focused on just Middle East. And so we've collapsed some of that down, which gives our students much more flexibility, so they can still sort of specialize if they want in certain areas, or they can take a broader approach and take in different areas across the world. But it also allows them to complete their courses more timely, as they're not trying to find only the one section that's offered here or there. Now it makes it more flexible for our students. And so that's kind of a goal we've been doing on a lot of our programs, but in particular, the programs that have lower enrollments, to ensure our students can complete their degrees in a timely fashion. And so basically that's what's happening with both the bachelor's degree and the master's degree in international studies. We've increased the flexibility, removed some of the credits that were kind of stopping points for our students.
And this seems to have proved matters.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions or comments on this item?
Yeah.
Supply chain management.
So that's the another Accelerate Central that goes from a bachelor's degree to the master's degree.
And the technology similar for technology management.
Exactly. Yep. So it's the bachelor's in manufacturing management that partners with our master's in technology management.
Political science, public policy, and management modification.
So they've added a new course to their core, but to keep the program at the same size, they removed removed 3 credits from the directed electives portion. So the overall change is net 0, but it is a brand new required course in the core.
Is this is international studies in the political science department, or is that a separate department? Is that separate?
International studies is technically an interdisciplinary program, so it sits across more than one school. Currently, I believe it's sitting actually in political science as one of our coordinators, and the other one is in geography. We have 2 coordinators that work together on the international studies.
Questions or comments on this item?
None.
Regent James,
No, I don't have any questions.
Psychological science, another modification.
And this one, again, I believe there's no actual net change in the number of credits. They've removed one of the 3-credit courses and replaced it with a 2-credit course and a 1-credit course, which they feel is a better way to deliver the content. And I believe it was research related. It was a course that students were struggling with. I think it was coming too fast and furious. So now it gets placed a little bit different in the curriculum to be more supportive for the student.
And the RN, you want to say anything about the nursing, the RN, since that's a focus that we've had over time?
So that one, the RN, that's the RN to BSN. So those are for students who come from our community college already with an associate's degree in an RN. And so we're basically finishing them off to give them a bachelor's degree. That was 2 courses. They added an extra credit for content that was sort of missing between the RN to BSN program. And so it increases the program by 2 credits.
Okay. And these are all presumably working RNs who are in this program.
Yes, they actually, to come into that program, they have to be certified registered nurses. So a lot of these courses are available, at least the very nursing specific courses are all offered online. So it's sensitive to that working population. They also have to complete additional gen eds and elective courses, which up on ground, online, they can put their program together as they please.
I gather there's not not a lot of clinical courses in this.
No, because they would have done that as part of their RN degree.
Okay. And finally, statistics.
Statistics, they removed one course from the minor, what they're declaring as the minor. Most of the students who would be going into this minor already have a statistics course in their major. So this makes it a little bit more flexible for them. In addition, we've been adding more statistics courses for other programs on our campus. And so we've increased the number of courses that are available as electives.
Any
Minor change.
Any questions of Dr. Mulrooney before we let him escape? Okay. Dr. Mulrooney, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Very informative. Thank you. Charter Oak.
Hi, I'm actually filling in for Provost Ferreira,
Yep.
Dr. Buckpokey. I was
Welcome.
going to, thank you. Thank you for having me. I was going to start with enrollment, but I have some hot off the press updates. This morning, Dave had posted on LinkedIn that officially our partnership with AXIM, it's a collaboration with Charter Oak and the Business Higher of Education Forum. And it's part of the AI, overall AI Academy. And it's to scale solutions in areas such as AI for small businesses and medium businesses in K through 12 within Connecticut. It's an extremely exciting partnership, and the goal is to reach 10,000 learners within 5 years. Kind of in the same vein, in terms of the AI Academy internally at Charter Oak, we have several subgroups who are working on providing guidance to students, guidance with AI to faculty, and then of course our course build curriculum. And we have just identified a partner to work on a platform, and that is Learning Mate. And it will actually assist us in another project with the ASU Accelerator program for our online transfer student toolkit, which we will offer for free in open edX as well to assist students to help maneuver the transfer process throughout the system and then externally coming into any of our programs. So that's exciting. We continue to prepare for our NECHI assessment. We have a college-wide assessment coming up as well as a graduate assessment. And the graduate I know is they'll be on site in April. And then in terms of enrollment, our total enrollment is up 15.3% in a 2-year change of 32.7%. So we continue to see positive numbers there.
Questions on this? You did a self-study for NECHI, I assume?
It is going on currently.
It's going on currently, okay. Yeah. Regent James?
No, I was just saying it's in process, the self-study.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your below-threshold health information management? This seems like Accelerate Charter Oak.
It is, yes. Same concept. We call it Fast Track, and we actually have Program Director Cindy Edgerton to speak on it.
Okay.
Cindy, are you there? If she is not, I know she had to drop off at some point, but I can go ahead and speak on her behalf. It is a change in
I do see Cindy here. I see that she's just muted. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate it very much. I would rather
course.
let her speak on it. Let me unmute. Okay. Cindy, how about I go ahead and get started and you jump in if you can get yourself unmuted. But last year we did actually have a few similar fast track low threshold modification proposals come through, and one was with the health information management program that allowed the undergraduate and graduate comparison courses up to 12 credits to be approved from the BS in HIM to the MS in health informatics. And now we're adding the BS in health information management to the BS or MS, excuse me, in healthcare administration. And the health information management certificate includes a great deal of the same courses as a program. This is kind of a post-bac certificate, so it's high credit, but it allows those who come in for the post-bac certificate to also utilize the fast track pathway to accelerate into our master's program in the Masters of Healthcare Administration specifically.
It finally let me unmute.
Oh.
But I think you're almost through anyway. Can you all see the document I shared?
Yes.
I just think that makes it a little easier to understand what the fast track is and what we're going for. So the first table is the fast track that we already have, that we've had for a couple of years. So that was kind of our trial, our kickoff, and now we want to add the second fast track option as well for health information management majors.
Okay.
And I think it just was natural that we had graduate courses that really mapped really well from our undergrad courses, really good matches. I think probably not all master's programs have that opportunity, but we did. And so the classes that the students can take at the master's level are really great upper level matches for the undergraduate courses.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the Regents?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you finally. Thank you very much to both of you. Travel, quick trip to the eastern part, far eastern part of the state. Dr. Wilson.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Dr. Wilson. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here. So here at Eastern, we are continuing to really lean into our role as Connecticut's public liberal arts institution and implement our unique hallmark liberal arts curriculum, ELAC, which launched last fall, 2 falls ago in fall 2024. Since arriving here in the fall, I've been able to engage about 24 faculty in 2 new programs that we're excited about. One is a seminar enhancement grant, which provides funds for experiential learning and content enhancement for our 200 and 400 level liberal arts seminars. And we have about $15,000 committed to that for this semester. We've got students going to the Rhode Island Black Film Festival, Hartford Improv Theater Club, participating in Brain Awareness Week, some guest speakers coming in. So really exciting to be able to support that with collaboration from the president. And then also did over December, January, a curriculum accelerator to continue to support faculty in developing those upper division seminars so that we have a lot of range of choices for our students when they get to that point in their curriculum. You may have seen a little bit of Eastern and Western faculty in the news recently. There was a collaboration with 2 Eastern biology faculty Dr. Graham and Dr. Murdoch, along with Dr. Santibanez Lopez from Western, and their research into scorpion venom. Please do not ask me any specific questions. And the ways in which understanding the DNA sequencing from these two scorpion species can open up new points of entry into vaccine research. So really exciting to see how that's been picked up and shared a bit locally. The other thing I'm excited to share is that we are hosting an AI colloquium on March 24th. This is primarily internal, and we are going to be reaching out a little bit to some industry and education partners. So the organizers are looking at three strands: teaching in the age of AI, research and creativity, and then industry and education. So we're going to have an industry partner panel as well as a high school educator panel to bring those voices in conversation with our faculty. So that program is still in development and looking forward to sharing some more details about that as it gets finalized. Finally, we've got some great things happening with our students in the community. Yet again, for I think almost the 20th year, we are participating in a volunteer income tax assistance program, helping provide free income tax preparation services to low and moderate income individuals and families across the state. And this year, for the first time, we are running that through our new Small Business Resource Center here in Willimantic, which launched last fall. And then just last week, we sent, right after the snow, we managed to get them out as soon as the snow cleared. We sent 13 students to the American College Theater Festival up in Albany, and 2 of them were there because they were receiving awards for design work, one for lighting design, one from costume design, based on work that they did here at Eastern in the fall semester. So I could brag on our students for a while, but I'm going to pause there and ask for any questions.
You got a lot of play on the scorpion venom article in the as you mentioned before. Yes. I mean, it's a great example of basic research that we hope will lead to applied benefits. And you had the article was published in a significant journal. Yes. Their article in PLOS. So.
And I think the comms teams at Eastern and WestCon also did a wonderful job of making sure to get stories planted locally so that the interest could be picked up as well.
This is really commendable, and it's great. Questions or comments from the regents? Okay, Dr. Wilson, thank you. This is really interesting. Really interesting work that your staff, your faculty are working on. Connecticut State, Dr. Heineck.
Good morning, Regent Bloom. I have a number of items to report to the board's ASA committee. On Tuesday this week at CT State Manchester, Connecticut State Community College signed a landmark partnership agreement with the Connecticut Technical Education and Career System, in which we are working together on dual admission as well as expanded dual and concurrent enrollment programming beginning this fall with culinary arts, but then next fall we will be jointly working together on faculty to faculty exchanges to ensure technical education growth in concurrent and dual enrollment, especially in areas like manufacturing as well as healthcare and IT. So we're excited about that partnership, knowing that the CTEC system has 17 high schools throughout the state, similar to CT State's 12 legacy campuses, and really hoping that this agreement can help us make significant traction in the years ahead, getting students in the system opportunities for low and no cost options for higher education. In addition to that, today I'm here at Manchester, where we are also running a student leadership summit, bringing all of our campus SGA members together with our student engagement leaders, as well as President Royal, to talk through the elements of leadership and giving them an opportunity to work together and advance their ability to lead. We are also in the process of launching the first multi-campus program review For CT State this spring, we are moving forward with 21 programs going under multi-campus program review because obviously as a unified college, we have many programs that are on multiple campuses. So this will be the first time that we are doing that type of analysis. And we're excited that that process is forthcoming. In addition to that, excited to announce that early last week, we learned that the United States Department of Education has approved our 7 prison education programs, which we're excited because that will allow people to continue to get financial aid, and that serves upwards of 600 students. In addition to that, we will have a focus in February and March on advising. We will be having a faculty advising summit on February 25th, in which we'll be bringing our department chairs, program coordinators, and campus teams together to discuss how we can advance faculty advising in support of guided pathways work. And then as we continue to make progress with ACME, we will be hosting an ACME summit, specifically working with our guided pathway advisors to make sure that placement criteria is clear, and that will be happening on March 13th. In addition to that, next time that we meet, we will probably be discussing our new certificate in electric vehicles that will be happening through CT State Gateway, which we're very excited about. And just coming through our own curriculum congress, which means it probably won't get to you guys until April. We will be launching, I hope, new programming in public health as an associate degree through a partnership with the Department of Public Health, as well as 2 certificates, one in environmental health and one in community health. I'm also happy to say that our own internal process, we have moved forward with replications of our programs. Again, this is one of the benefits of CT State, is the ability to replicate programs across our campuses where needed based on labor market information. And we will be replicating respiratory care at CT State Gateway beginning in the spring of 27. And we will be working with our accreditor there. We will also be replicating medical lab technician, which is a Quinnebog Valley program at Housatonic beginning in the fall of 27. We will also be replicating to ensure all of our culinary programs have a baking option, and we will be replicating our baking certificate at Naugatuck Valley in the fall of 27. And those are my updates.
Perhaps the region should visit some of the sites to inspect the baking program.
Absolutely. We'd welcome you.
Sounds great. And the Acme Summit will be on March 13th.
March 13th, yes. And it's focused on the advisors. So our advising council, which includes our leads for English and math, will be working with the advisors to ensure placement is clear to everyone. And we're going to continue our work on math pathways because we still have work to do to ensure that our programs are prescriptive on which math pathway students need to be going into based on major. That'll be a big focus of our new CDGs and CDCs, which is that preliminary work in our own internal curricular governance process.
I think that will have enormous benefit. I know so many students in our system that sort of blow through all of their funding. And at the end of their, 2 years, they realize they didn't have the right, they weren't on the right path in terms of achieving their career objectives. So I think this will make a huge difference in terms of, again, completion and making sure that our graduates come through with the credentials and the appropriate preparation they need to pursue the next steps, whether it's further education or employment.
Agreed.
And we're bridging some of these with the universities in the system.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any questions of Dr. Heineck? Dr. Heineck, thank you for informative. Good to see you again. Informative. System Office, Dr. Diamond.
Hello, everyone. I just want to point out how diverse our items have been today. We've talked about AI, education, scorpions, and baking. So whoever says that academics is boring, no, we definitely aren't. This has been a great agenda today. So much to celebrate in this meeting. It was wonderful to hear from Provost Hegedus and President Bernal, and I feel like I'm the bookend on great news for our system, our community, that we have received a $2.4 million grant from an anonymous foundation through a grant process that we were approved for. And the title of this work is the CSCU Excellence in Teacher Residency Program. This right now, this first year, and again, let me say this again and again, the 12 months that we have been funded for that $2.4 million is around the research and development for the universities to really take a deep dive into their current teacher residency programs. And if they don't have them, the opportunity to scope and scale and to develop those programs. This information has been embargoed. We've actually been working on this for 6 months, and we were just given the go-ahead this week. So a press release will be forthcoming. The other point that I want to make about this is the Connecticut State Department of Education also has expanded their Aspiring Educators program, which is a teacher residency program. So we will be in consort with them. But this first year has been wonderful. This is a stipulation that I actually was really aggressive about, that we needed time to work with the faculty, to work with the staff who were focused on their relationships with their district partners, to see what we could do and honestly what we should do in this space. Oftentimes, the grant writers, I'm pointing the finger at myself, we get really excited about opportunities of money. And it really comes down to the people who are implementing how the funding is spent, and more importantly, how it is reported. So this was an effort that the university provosts were so very supportive of me in particular about really wrapping my head around if this was a space that we should get into and if the timing was right. I have to say that it should not be lost on anyone that the opportunity to get any funding for education programs right now is pretty much unheard of. So I'm absolutely thrilled about this program, and there will be much more information moving forward. But again, the critical details are that for right now, it's the 4 state universities. I can say that I will be going after additional years of funding to expand to our entire system. And we're just thrilled that we have this opportunity. And I cannot speak highly enough about the faculty and the staff that are working on the teams from the universities and the information that they've been so open and welcoming to share about the work that they do every single day and how they want to support future teachers in the state of Connecticut. And that is my only update for today.
Yeah. Congratulations to you, Dr. Diamond. This is another remarkable achievement. Today's meeting has, as Regent James said, produced a number of really exciting developments. And this is obviously, training teachers is obviously critical to success in the state. So this is obviously a really important step. So thank you. Dr. Stevens.
Good morning, everyone. I have a couple updates. Our Student Advisory Committee has begun socializing their system-wide survey with our campus senates. Once we receive feedback from our campus senates that will be incorporated, and their next steps will be providing information and moving forward with their IRB process for that system survey. So that is my first update. The second update is the System HR1 committee, the big beautiful bill committee for the system has begun. This committee's purpose is to consolidate institutional expertise to prepare for federal changes, track implementation and legal developments, and ensure that CSEU can respond promptly and consistently to any legislative inquiries. This includes developing a unified analysis of HR1 provisions, preparing timely updates for the state and federal policymakers, and equipping the chancellor, our presidents, and the Board of Regents with accurate information to support testimony and budget requests and any advocacy efforts. The committee officially launched in December. We have had 2 meetings. We have another meeting next week. We chose a chair, or a chair was elected, which is Melissa Stevens from Western Connecticut. She's serving as our chair. 4 subcommittees were identified, and those subcommittees have started meeting, and those subcommittees will be reporting back at our next meeting, which is on the 12th. The 4 subcommittees that were identified are financial aid, workforce Pell, accountability and compliance, and impact monitoring. And my last update is we had to submit biannually a food insecurity report, and that is related to PA 22-101. And all the campuses provided information about their food insecurity responses, what our food pantries provide to our students, what our students our traffic is like on our different campuses, and those reports were sent on January 1st. And I want to say thank you to all our campuses for providing all of the information so that we could centralize that report and get that sent out by January 1st. So that concludes my updates. Does anyone have any questions?
No, Dr. Stevens, seeing no questions. Thank you very much. Very informative report as well. The final item would be a motion for adjournment. Before that, any good and welfare comments from any of the regents at the meeting before we?
No, thank you again for this. Clearly how much work is going on and how much progress is being made is truly impressive. And I thank all of you for your concerted efforts and successful progress on so many different fronts. So thank you.
Thank you. I certainly second Regent James' comments. The remarkable things are going on the campus. My only point, we need to keep them less of a secret.
Yes.
And not only in the campus, but in the system office as well. And these things we should not keep these things secret. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. I thank everybody. I appreciate
folks,
everybody.
the live stream has ended.
Thank you. And Brandon, thank you for getting us going.